Angulo and Julio. Angulo, 27 years of age. Weight limit 154 pounds. Angulo was late for the weigh-in, said there was traffic in Los Angeles on his way here. He rehydrated on our unofficial scales to 167. Julio said he wanted to come into the ring at about 160 pounds. On our unofficial scales, 166. Time for the rules with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Alfredo Angulo-Joel Julio fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Bob, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges will use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching.
Well, those are the rules that'll be governed during the course of this fight. There is Joel Julio from Colombia. We saw him on Boxing After Dark a little over a year ago, stopped by James Kirkland in the 6th round. He's got a new trainer, says he's in the best shape of his career. He'll need it tonight against Alfredo Angulo. Angulo from Mexicali, Mexico, fighting out of Los Angeles, California. (17-1), 14 knockouts. A little disturbed has been the Angulo camp that they were not giving more prominent billing on this card in Ontario. But they said there's nothing we can do about the business aspect of it. We just go out and fight and put on a good show. The only loss for Angulo came on May 30th of last year, losing a 12-round decision to Kermit Cintron. Bounced back with 2 consecutive wins, including a November 7th 3rd-round TKO against Harry Yorgi. Really a mild-mannered young man who says, I'm not worried about what people think of me. I just go into the ring and do my job. I'll let the fans decide where they rank me. Time for the introductions of our first bout of the evening as we send it to the ring, and our ring announcer for tonight, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Citizens Business Bank Arena here in Ontario, California, USA, where tonight Houston Tudor Promotions is proud to present HBO Boxing After Dark, Ring of Fire. An evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. Sponsored by San Miguel Indian Bingo and Casino, Fiesta Broadway, presented by Craig & O'Reilly Auto Parts, La Opinion, and Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina. This bout presented by Gary Shaw Productions in association with Main Events and sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout: Adelaide Bird, Steve Morrow, and Pat Russell. And inside the ring, the referee in charge of the action at the bell, Raul Pais Jr. And now, this bout is for the WBO interim world title. 12 rounds of boxing in the junior middleweight division. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue with yellow and red, official weight 153 1/4 pounds. His professional record, 35 victories, including 31 knockouts, with only 3 defeats. From Monterrey, Colombia, one of the top-ranked contenders in the world, the challenger, Joel Julio. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, officially weighing in at 153 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 17 victories, including 14 knockouts, only 1 defeat. From Mexicali, Mexico, the WBO interim world champion, Alfredo El Perro Angulo.
Nomás una persona, por favor. Let's go, gentlemen. Fuímonos. Ok, muchachos, les di las instrucciones de abajo. Los dos traen los calzones un poquito altos, así que los golpes aquí están perfectamente bien. Both of you have your trunks a little high, so punches here are fine. Ahora dense la mano y buena suerte a los dos. Good luck to both of you.
Two big punchers with tough beards and a willingness to mix it up. This should be fun.
Alfredo Angulo and Joel Julio.
Listo, hey, epa.
Julio has new trainer Anthony Ham working with him. Feels that he learned from the Kirkland
Listo,
fight
Angulo.
from last year.
Ready, Julio. Listo.
How to get to 100%. Says he's in the best condition he's been in a long time. Round one scheduled for 12. Angulo in the black will do nothing that's spectacular. He punches hard, stays in the pocket, and keeps pushing the action. Bob Papa, Max Kellerman, Lennox Lewis ringside in Ontario, California. Right hand by Angulo touches Julio. Angulo said that when we spoke with him yesterday, everybody always says they're going to be tough with me and hang in there and try to pressure me, but then they start to run. We'll see what Julio does here. Julio thinks, at least in the lead up to the fight, that he could knock out Angulo.
And he came in pretty confident. Said he's going to use his speed. He's not going to run away from him. He's going to be right in front of Angulo. And right now, I think he's actually moving the wrong way. He's moving into Angulo's right hand. He should mix up ways he's moving. He should definitely move left and move to the right.
On paper, it's a bad fight for Julio because Angulo has the shorter, straighter, better punches and better inside technique. But Julio certainly did appear confident yesterday when he spoke to us, and he looks, just the way he looks in better shape than we've seen him in the past. Has a new trainer, but there you see the kind of mismatch in inside technique. Angulo's shorter punches getting there first.
And Angulo's punches are not that fast. They're basically straight punches. They're pretty accurate.
They're fast enough, though, aren't they, Lennox? I mean, it's not, you're never going to confuse him with Parnell Whitaker as far as hand speed, but he delivers them in what appears to be a quick manner.
Yeah. Julio has the speed to get away from the punches. You know, he needs to keep his hands up just a little bit more, but he definitely needs to keep his eyes open. He doesn't want to get hit by any silly shots.
Approaching a half minute to go in round number one, scheduled for 12. Alfredo Angulo in the black trunks, Joel Julio in the blue. This is the 166th professional round for Julio, who turned pro at the age of 16 out of Colombia. Angulo, with amateur background, represented Mexico in the 2004 Olympics. Although he's older, he has less experience. This is only his 70th round as a pro.
And Angulo's doing a good job of cutting off the ring. You know, you can tell the experience factor right now because he's doing it quite well.
End of round number one in this scheduled 12-rounder. Now you saw Angulo throwing a lot of punches. We invite fans to log on to HBO.com/boxing. You can follow the Punch Zone stats as they happen, live and in living color. Just log on to HBO.com/boxing and watch the live Punch Zone stats. Max, we're talking about the 154-pound division. How do you size up this weight class?
Well, the two elite 154-pounders are also the two elite middleweights in the world. Sergio Martinez and Paul Williams, as boxing writer Eric Raskin pointed out to me yesterday. They're competing for supremacy over two divisions. Right now, Sergio Martinez, middleweight champ, even though Williams owns a close decision against him. Kermit Cintron's fighting Williams coming up May 8th. Zunzurich is an undefeated southpaw, has a win over Julio. Miguel Cotto making his debut against Yuri Foreman at 154 soon. Yuri Foreman doesn't hit at all, neither does Corey Spinks, but they can both box. And Angulo you see tonight against Julio.
And we begin round number two, scheduled for 12. Alfredo Angulo and Joel Julio. In the first round, according to CompuBox, Angulo threw 67 jabs. He landed 8 of them. Julio threw 64 punches the entire round. Angulo 15 of 98 in round number 1. He likes to work. He's methodical about his work, and he's heavy-handed.
And Angulo had real success in that first round, but Julio also had moments where he connected flushly.
See Angulo there kind of just waving on Julio. So come on, come on. Nice double left hand from Julio.
No, Angulo can't really afford that, Julio, to do that to him, you know, just to really make pot shots at him, because that's where he's going to take advantage in this fight. Move around, throw combinations, not get hit, and then move out of the way.
Chopping right from Julio. Angulo blocked most of it. Julio continues to circle to his left. Now he edges back to the right momentarily.
And Julio, I don't really see a stiff jab. He needs to really hit Angulo with a stiff jab to really keep him away, because, you know, once Angulo thinks that he's got no power behind him, he's going to really walk in there and try and put some damage on him.
Julio's obviously not as accomplished as Kermit Cintron, the only man to hold a professional win over Angulo. But he's fighting this fight. He seems to be trying to fight this fight in the same style that Cintron fought Angulo, using the perimeter of the ring, using his legs, and he is getting off some shots, even though he's not getting the better of it.
In that fight, Cintron threw 1,094 punches, according to CompuBox.
And let me tell you,
worked the jab well.
Cintron threw some hard jabs to stop Angulo and to put him back and make him think about that right hand. And this is what Julio needs to do.
Right hand from Angulo. Lennox, should Angulo also be working the body a little bit more as Julio keeps trying to go side to side?
Yeah, I mean, right now he's focused on the head. He should drop it down a little bit and do some body work. Maybe slow down Julio's legs a little bit, because Julio's moving around at a good pace right now.
Julio's giving Angulo too much ground. It looks a little bit like Margarito and Cotto, in the sense that even when Julio gets off a good combination, he gets out of there so fast. The sense is that the momentum is still with Angulo, and that it's Julio who's expending too much energy.
From a work rate perspective, a good round number 2 for Joel Julio on the CompuBox stat sheet. He landed 9 more punches.
Very good. We're working very well. Don't be desperate. Look for him now. Look for him. Look for the body. Look for the body, all right? Close off his exits. You're letting him walk too much. Too much. Way too much. Don't let him walk too much. You all right? Good. Does he hit hard? No. Well, but be careful. Don't fall in his trap. Press. Press, light side to side. All he wants to do is jump, 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 and go. And he wants to use the counter attack. So work that left.
You're doing well. Keep doing what you're doing. That was a good round for you, baby. That was a good round. Listen, no matter what he do, don't let him take nothing from you. Agua. Too late. You go. Let's go. Don't let him take nothing from you.
So we begin round number 3, scheduled 12-rounder in the CompuBox numbers. Last round, Julio landed 17 of 78, 10 of 28 power shots. Angulo just 8 of 79 total in the round. Combination from Julio to get round 3 going.
You heard Anthony Ham, Joel Julio's trainer, in the corner saying, don't let him, a good round, don't let him take nothing from you. And I think that's very good advice. It addresses what I mentioned at the end of the round. Don't let Angulo establish momentum. Don't keep giving ground. Keep boxing, but establish yourself a little more.
We're in Ontario, California for HBO's Boxing After Dark. Alfredo Angulo and Joel Julio. Round number 3 scheduled for 12. Still to come, a heavyweight showdown between Chris Arreola and Thomas Adamek. You're on Boxing After Dark.
To Julio's credit, you see him doing just that in this round. Busier, and though he's moving, doesn't seem to be running.
Well, you know, I find he's not connecting as much as he should be connecting. He has the speed to connect, but he needs to really connect a little bit more.
Angulo had Julio in his wheelhouse, did not move his hands as much as you would have expected. Good hook to the body by Angulo. Combination by Angulo, caught the chin of Julio after a good body shot again.
And there you see Julio using upper body movement, not just his legs, to avoid punches. And getting off a good left hook.
Good exchange there. Good combination by Joel Julio. Julio hooks to the body, short with the right. Well thought out round number 3 by Joel Julio to this point.
A lot better round Julio box this round. Not standing still, throwing some good combinations, and then after he's finished throwing his combinations, his hands are up and he's moving.
And he's building on the success he had in the last round, I think.
Nothing left hand by Angulo, partially blocked by Julio.
Angulo looks a little weary. His mouth is a little open, and he does have a little nick under his right eye. But he didn't do too much in this round. He needs to do a little bit more work. He's letting Julio take advantage of this round.
And a good round for Joel Julio as the bell sounds to end round 3.
No baje las manos. Mira, jab, doble jab.
Jab, double up the jab, and then that right straight shot over the top. Jab, jab. Bring your hands out. Don't let him jump.
Vamos a tratar de ganar esto, no me des tanto espacio.
Slowly, slowly.
Mano arriba. Just keep doing what you're doing. More agua. No, you can't put it. I gotta wear a rag. Doc, wet that towel. Keep this on his neck. Keep this on his neck. Mouthpiece in.
In the last round, Joel Julio threw 107 punches, landed 27 to Angulo's 16 of 79, 19 of 54 in his power shots. Let's check in with our unofficial ringside scorer, Howard Leatherman.
Okay, Bob. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28, Joel Julio. Bob, I think in rounds 2 and 3, Joel Julio clearly outboxed him. He's making a big mistake. Right-handed fighters naturally circle to the left, and he's circling to the left all the time. You got to really change direction once in a while. But I love the way he doubles that left hook, doubles that left jab. He outworks Angulo, landing a lot of clean, effective shots. He pulled out rounds 2 and 3 clearly. 2-1, Julio.
You know, Julio has to worry. There's a danger in exchanges on the inside because of Angulo's superior, shorter punches and punching technique. But there are certain similarities with the Cintron fight, even in terms of Angulo yesterday being 2 hours late to the weigh-in, and there was an excuse about how he was stuck in traffic. There was also excuses about why he was late to fighter meetings before the Cintron fight. And in both fights, I noticed in the fighter meetings, Angulo looked physically drawn to me. That's also coupled in both cases with, you know, he's matched against a hard-punching, athletic opponent. Again, Julio's not Cintron, but he is athletic. He's a very big puncher, and he's in shape for this fight.
Angulo said the weight has not been a problem at all. Although Max, you illustrated some of the scenarios in which have transpired this week. Right now, Angulo can get into no rhythm whatsoever. Joel Julio takes a counter left shot after Angulo blocked the combination.
Angulo's technique might carry the day in situations like this. But once in a while, you meet with fighters before the fight, and you come away with a different opinion of what's going to happen the next day. I experienced that with Juan Diaz and Nate Campbell when Campbell upset Diaz. And there was a similar feeling, I think, yesterday meeting with these two guys.
Alex, what should Angulo be doing to kind of get things going more in his favor?
Well, Angulo should be throwing to the body a little bit more, you know. He's a body puncher and he likes to mix it up a little bit. I don't see him throwing that much to the body. And Julio is moving around like a rabbit, and there's nothing, no punches that Angulo is throwing out to really stop him.
Julio scores from the outside and moves away from any kind of trouble. Good stiff left hook from Julio as well. You could make the case a close round might be going to Julio's favor just based on the last 30 seconds. There's the bell to end round number 4. Well, still to come tonight here in Ontario, California. We'll get a look at heavyweight Chris Arreola. Arreola, 28-1, 25 knockouts. Feels that he's in the right mental focus tonight, taking on the tough Thomas Adamek from Jersey City, New Jersey, who's moved up from light heavyweight, cruiserweight championships, now campaigning as a heavyweight. Arreola Adamek still to come in our main event.
Throw the combinations. Throw the combinations. As always, started off with the jab. He's running. He's running, but you're not cutting off the ring. Cut off the ring. Hands up.
And here we see Angulo finding his range right here with a straight right hand right on the chin. There's another one.
And we begin round number 5. But maybe, depending how the judges had it scored, that last 35 seconds or so of the round tilted it in favor of Julio in what was a close round to that point. Alex, it seems like right now Julio's on top of his game for the most part. He's been able to use his movement, land some left hooks, land some clean shots.
You know, he's doing what he wants to do right now. There's no threat. And this is, you know, he's using his speed, his foot movement, throwing combinations, staying out of the way. Really forcing Angulo to really chase after him and cut off the ring. Angulo has a piece of tape on his back. I don't know what that means.
I'll tell you what it is. In his corner, the red corner, there's a Corona sign, and if you see the R to the right of your screen, the Panjway is missing. It looked like he got stuck on his back. That's what that white piece of tape is. He's got an R. He hopes that Julio doesn't turn it into a scarlet letter with the way Julio's going right now.
Angulo hasn't really taken advantage of the fact that Julio's circling to his left and into his right hand.
Well, if you saw that, what would you do?
I would really take a step over and, you know, just like I'm pitching a baseball punch and throw it to the direction where I know he's going.
I got one for you, Bob. You turn that R around upside down on his back, it's an L. And at this rate, I think that's what Julio's hanging on him so far.
Yeah, after a good round 1 for Angulo.
Angulo's still having his moments. You know, he's still reaching them, but Julio's boxing impressively.
You know, his footwork has really slowed down. He's not cutting off the ring as much as he did in the first couple rounds. So maybe he's getting a little bit weary in there, a little bit tired. Doesn't want to waste too much energy. So he's taking his time about it. You know, and
though Angulo always gives you the impression that he's the guy who's breaking the other fighter down, that the other fighter, you know, every punch that Angulo lands stays with the other fighter, leaves an impression. Julio has a rugged chin. I mean, we've seen him hit with monster shots and he hasn't gone down. So he may be in a better position to absorb these shots on the inside than many of Angulo's opponents.
You know, if I was in Julio's corner, I would tell him to stand his ground a little bit more and just use his speed and accurate punches. Block the punches, because right now he should be able to see them coming.
Angulo making it more rugged in the final minute of the round. Nickel on the right eye and that R on the back.
Don't let him take control. Don't let him take control.
While he's jumping, you work. You work. Just keep working. Working that shot to the body. You need to work that right. The right to the body and finish off with the left up top. All right? Finish it off with the hook. The hook and the jab. All right? But don't stop throwing that jab with the left.
Left hand by Angulo, left hand by Julio as we take a look at the punch zone stats so far here in the fight. We zero in on the punch zone, and punches landed on Angulo through 5 rounds, and not a lot of work to the body of those connects so far in the fight. Only 12 to the body, but he's been able to land that left hand repeatedly.
But that's the reason why he's not going to the body, because he's catching great success throwing punches to the head.
Round number 6 begins. Now the R is off, and Angulo has the O from the sign on his back. We're playing hangman? He's got to get some O going, a little more offense. Puts together some punches there.
Yeah, I thought towards the end, especially of the last round and so far in this round, Angulo's skill margin is showing. His class is starting to show. I think Julio needs to do something to keep Angulo honest at this point, as Lennox, you mentioned at the end of last round.
See, Julio's wasting a lot of time here. He needs to really stand his ground a little bit more. Maybe try and push Julio back a little bit.
You see how many steps Julio is now taking for every step that Angulo's taking. Angulo not great at cutting off the ring generally, but not doing such a bad job here.
Angulo's now starting to throw more hooks to the body, too, as Julio tries to move from side to side.
There it is, and Angulo lands a nice little shot, but then almost runs away. Needs to figure out a way to keep the fight, I think, a little bit more in the middle of the ring.
A combination from Julio, and then he gets his back off the ropes. There's a couple body shots by Angulo to try to keep Julio in place. Then he doesn't follow it up with anything else. Most of that blocked by Julio. Then Angulo comes with a hook back to the head.
And Angulo really wants to land his punches, you know. He's actually taking punches to land a couple punches. He's letting Julio throw some combinations. He's catching them, but he's ready to fire back.
Usually those shots, the hard ones that Angulo's landed upstairs, would have floored an opponent. He's not doing a ton of body work compared to the pace we normally see Angulo attack the body, and maybe that's one of the reasons that Julio is taking the shots. About good left hook from Julio.
Angulo puts his punches together to punctuate the end of round number 6.
Can I have some water? Can you give it to her?
You need that ice over here. It's swollen over here. Joel, stop going head hunting all day. Hit the body. Don't blow, don't blow. Hit the body. Hit the body. You're going to the head too much. All right? Hit the body with them shots. All right? Hit the body. Just stand to your head too much.
Buddy, those last 10, those last 30, you know, we got to attack. Close strong, close strong. When you throw his body, attack the body, double it up at the body, all right?
Use that right uppercut and don't drop your hand.
Each boxer connected with 19 punches according to the CompuBox. 19 of 72 for Julio, 19 of 79 for Angulo. Let's check in once again with Harold Letterman.
3 rounds apiece 57-57. I got it all even to this point. I got to tell you something. The minute that Joe Julio stops moving, Alfredo Angulo lands some monstrous shots. I mean, this kid can really punch. Joe Julio putting on a fabulous exhibition of physical conditioning. When he moves and he jabs and he punches, he's doing well. But the minute he slows up, and he's got to slow up, yeah, you just can't run for 3 minutes. The minute he slows up, Angulo tags him with monster right hands. So I thought Angulo pulled out rounds 5 and 6 with those hard right hands, 3-3, all even.
All right, Harold.
You know, Anthony Ham, Joel Julio's trainer, his new trainer. First of all, this is the best we've seen Joel Julio box. And it's the best I've ever seen him fight, especially considering the opponent tonight. And secondly, every time we hear him in the corner, he's saying something smart. He told Julio to go to the body. We haven't seen Julio do that, and we know Angulo has a good chin.
Angulo tries to start things off with a hook to the body to slow down Julio. He keeps moving. Body shot from Julio.
There's a body shot.
Julio touched from the body, they got away. On a reset. She sense any frustration in Angulo that he can't seem to slow down Julio?
A little bit. He's doing the right thing. He's really caught him with some good body punches. I think he's trying to set up right now to catch Julio with some body punches. Maybe the body punches can slow him down for the next few rounds, but he is concentrating on trying to hit him to the body.
Julio with a combination. Stops Angulo in his tracks. Julio moves right out of danger's way.
See a lot of Cotto Margarito in this fight. Although Julio seems to be weathering the punches a little better than Cotto weathered Margarito's, of course. What we later learned about Margarito maybe gives some insight into why Cotto was affected by the punches that way.
Right hand from Angulo, his best punch of the round, and that ends round number 7. Coming up in our main event, Thomas Adamek, 40-1, 27 knockouts, born in Poland, fighting out of Jersey City, New Jersey. Former light heavyweight, former cruiserweight champion of the world, campaigning now at heavyweight, his third bout at heavyweight. He'll be taking on the local favorite, Chris the Nightmare Arreola, 28-1, 25 knockouts. Coming off a win against Brian Minto back in December after his loss to Vitaly Klitschko, who's in the building tonight. Arreola Adamek coming up in our main event on Boxing After Dark.
Take him off to the right, to your right.
Good fight so far by Joel Julio against the rugged Alfredo Angulo as round number 8 begins, scheduled for 12. Julio talked to us yesterday about his conditioning and how he's in the best shape. We haven't seen Julio this refined, his new team. So far, all of those predictions have been reaffirmed in the ring tonight. Can he maintain it?
And is he winning these middle rounds? He's still boxing effectively at times, like right there. But Angulo is also in the last several rounds landing some very hard shots.
Julio needs to concentrate on throwing some combinations right now. Right now he's taking a defensive posture, and that's really moving around and allowing his opponent to really cut off the ring and hit into the body.
Julio is also a terrific puncher when he sets his feet and punches, and he hasn't really done that tonight. He hasn't unloaded with his full power.
Right, I haven't seen him sit down under any punches. It's just really showing that he's using his speed out there, but he's not giving his opponent anything to worry about. He's just happy moving. You know, so he's got to really be concerned about the judging here. You know, some judges may look at this and say, oh, well, he's not really doing anything. He's moving around the ring. Angulo's pressing the action, and, you know, I'm going to give him these rounds.
Right hand from Angulo, and then a combination to the chin of Julio as well. Julio now in retreat mode as Angulo stalks him. Nice triple punch combination from Julio, finishing with the body hook.
But because Angulo has that sturdy chin, because Julio hasn't softened him to the body, and because Julio isn't really putting his full power behind those punches, Angulo just continues his forward march.
Angulo trying to land his home run punch.
And he's missing.
End of a right hand there, caught Julio. They exchange at the bell.
Let's hear that 10 seconds. Too long. You gotta let your hands go, please. I can't hear the 10 seconds. Well, let your hands go.
Dile 10 seconds que le den putazo más grande.
You gotta let your hands go. You can't win the fight. You can't win.
Cierra la salida, no lo dejes tirar, amigo, no lo dejes que se acomode para tirar.
Don't let him set up to throw, because he throws 3-4 punches and you throw 2.
Termíname con la derecha.
Finish off with the right. Finish off with the right. Right hook to the body. Hook to the top. Close up.
You gotta let your hands go. El noveno, muchachos, el noveno. You ain't letting your hands go enough. You throwing one at a time. Let your hands go. We didn't train like that. El noveno, muchachos, el noveno,
It's Julio throwing combinations.
Let your hands go. You can't fight a defensive fight. Let your hands go.
And well, he's just really just egging him on. He's saying, yo, that was nothing, man. At least, you know, stay and fight.
In that round, though, Angulo threw 101 punches to Julio's 65, and he landed some good, solid shots in the round.
And you heard Anthony Ham, Julio's trainer, once again giving the appropriate advice at that stage and at that moment in the fight, which was let your hands go. That was, you know, he's being outworked now, and sure, there's a danger in exchanges for Julio because of Angulo's inside technique, but when Julio's at his preferred distance, that's when he needs to do his business, like right now.
And don't forget, after Boxing After Dark, you do not want to miss the next installment of 24/7 Mayweather-Mosley as they get set for their big matchup. It's been a fun watch to this point. Shane Mosley and Floyd Mayweather. Always great television when the Mayweather family's under the spotlight of 24/7. Angulo right on the belt line with that double left hand.
Although Julio is still moving and doing certain things well, the play got taken away from him sometime, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 rounds ago. He stopped dictating the action.
Well, it feels a little bit more like running now than it did before. It felt more like good movement, and he was doing work off it. Now it feels like it's a little bit more of a run.
And as we mentioned, it seems, as I mentioned, it seems every time we see a good Colombian prospect contender, he has to learn on the job.
And it's funny, he said he was in good shape, but he's in good running shape.
Well, he's also throwing punches here, and he's doing certain things well. But by the time these Colombians with limited amateur background and limited exposure to top trainers get to this country in the big fights, they show that they have the ability to compete, but not the necessary background to win. And so you see Julio here learning on the job. He's learned on the job in some big fights on our air in recent years. And he's a better fighter than he was, but if it continues like this, maybe not good enough yet to beat the likes of Angulo.
You know, what he's doing is giving up too much space in between him and his opponent, and he's allowing his opponent to really come forward too much without expecting any punch back.
And his right eye is busted open now, and it's dripping blood into the eye.
Right hand from Angulo. Julio missed the counter shot. And Julio's got a cut on that right eye. Here's the bell to end the round. And we were told that the cut already.
Got to work
it. Is from a punch.
So what? That's how you got to beat this guy. That's how you beat this guy. All right? You're still fine. You got good. You got a lot of energy left, son. You're fine. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Let your hands go. You're okay.
You got to close up strong. Close them strong.
Todo lo que puede ser.
Joel, let your fucking hands go. Get the towel off his head.
So they work on that cut on the right eye of Joel Julio. The referee, Raul Caya Sr., informed us that was from a punch in the last round. Check in with Harold Letterman.
Okay, Bob. 6 rounds to 3, 87-84, Alfredo Angulo. Bob, I got Angulo winning 5 rounds in a row. I mean, you know, when you're fighting the kind of fight Joe Julio's fighting, you're moving, you're always punching. You know, when you're on your toes and you're punching on your toes, you got to outwork a big banger like Angulo. And since round 4, Julio just hasn't done it. He hasn't outworked him to, you know, enough to win a round. He's throwing punches, he's moving just like he did there, gets in an occasional shot, but nothing serious. They're just not real hard shots. On the other hand, Angulo, flat-footed, hard right hands, effective right hands, the kind of punches that really kill you. He's winning the fight. 87-84, Angulo.
Here at ringside, HBO's Boxing After Dark from Ontario, California. Bob Poppel, Max Kellerman, Lennox Lewis, Chris Ariola, Thomas Adamick still to come in our main event. Then after HBO's Boxing After Dark, it's 24/7. Mayweather Mosley. No knockdown so far in the fight between Alfredo Angulo and Joel Julio.
You know, Julio is almost like a power pitcher who is having some success with some off-speed stuff, and he finds himself in trouble late in the game, and the question is, does he still have a fastball? Because if he does, he needs to throw it.
Domination from Julio. And then Angulo tries to get himself right back in position to throw his heavy-handed shots.
Julio better watch it right now because, you know, after every punch, he's doing the same thing. He's getting out and he's moving to his left. All the time moving to that left. After a while, Angulo's going to time it and come across with that right hand, because that's what I would do. Knowing that he's going to come out and he's going to move to that left.
Corner of Julio screaming, Joel, you got to let your hands go. He does. One of those 3 got through.
And he's moving to the left with the left hand down, so recipe for disaster when you do it that way.
Angulo just keeps the pressure on.
In spite of the fact that Julio's had a very good little 20-second, 30-second stretch here.
Julio at full retreat as the bell rings to end round number 10. Well, still to come in our main event, heavyweight Chris, the Nightmare Arreola from Riverside, California. Says the 250 pounds he weighs is a good 250. Says he spent extra time in the gym, feels fit, feels like he's worked on his technique. We'll see tonight as he takes on Thomas Adamek. The 33-year-old, born in Poland, living in Jersey City, New Jersey. Personable young man, 40-1. Former light heavyweight and cruiserweight champion. Now in his third fight at heavyweight. That's coming up in our main event on Boxing After Dark. Round number 11 underway between Alfredo Angulo and Joel Julio in the scheduled 12-rounder. No knockdown so far in the fight. It's been a rugged fight. Julio has used movement. Sometimes he's run. Angulo continues to stalk him. To Julio's credit, he has taken some big shots from Angulo. He's delivered some big shots of his own, like right there.
And you know, to Angulo's credit, I don't think he's at his best tonight. I got the impression, Bob, I don't know how you felt about it, but it seemed to me that yesterday he was low energy when we talked to him and just didn't, even from the early rounds here, didn't look like the Angulo we're used to seeing when he's at his best. And he's faced with a determined challenger who's in the best shape he's been in, who's boxing very well, and he's winning the fight in spite of that.
Combination there from Angulo. Rocks back Julio.
And he's winning it by doing what he always does, remaining calm, cutting off the ring, pressuring his man steadily, going to the body, throwing the shorter, better shots on the inside, absorbing punches well.
It's safe to say, though, this is going to be a tough fight to score. I don't think it's necessarily cut and dry with some of these rounds.
I think Angulo has done enough since, I guess it was round 5 or 6, since the middle rounds to...
Oh, right hand drops Julio. He did enough right there.
Well, like I said, it's time to...
Julio's up, and it's stopped by Raul Kai Sr.
Not only did he time it, as Lennox Lewis pointed out he would, but I think that was also the effect of those many short shots on the inside and body shots that accumulated through the first 10 and a half rounds.
And he kind of lulled him into a false sense of, you know, he's not going to do anything. And all of a sudden, there goes that right hand because he kept on doing that same thing. Plus, that left hand was down. So he suffered from it.
A very impressive showing by Angulo when all is said and done.
Well, Lennox, you said eventually he was going to time it, and he did time that movement of Julio, and he just crushed it with a right hand.
And here it goes. Throws that left hand. He knows that right hand's going to come through. It's been coming through all night. Timed perfectly over. You see it from another angle. Just dips to his left, right over that left hand. Every time Julio throws that left hand out, he brings it back down. So, you know, eventually it was going to catch up with him, and it did.
Can't place it any better than that either, Lennox. Crushing right hand by Alfredo Angulo. All that punishment, all those hard punches from the 27-year-old Alfredo Angulo in his very workmanlike style. Just keeps digging in, and he dug in with the defining punch. And the official time of the stoppage to the ring, and Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 1 minute 39 seconds of round number 11. The winner by knockout victory still the interim WBO World Champion Alfredo El Perro Angulo.
Well, Alfredo Angulo stops Joel Julio in the 11th round. We take a look at the final punch numbers in the fight for Angulo and Julio, Julio tried to use his movement and pot-shot Angulo. He had some success early, but the heavy-handed Angulo threw 880 punches in the fight. You see that Julio landed at a better connection during the course of the fight. But the power punch numbers were the key thing for Alfredo Angulo in this fight. 122 of 368 power. We take a look at the punch zone numbers. And you see to the right, the punches landed on Julio. Angulo did enough with those hooks to the body. He landed 60 of those 167 to the body. And the rest went upstairs. And he was able to finish him off with that right hand to the left side of Julio's head, stopping him in the 11th round. Well, so glad you could join us here on HBO's Boxing After Dark from Ontario, California. Still to come, our main event.